Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Terp Family Fundamentals webinar series. My name is Danielle Walker. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director in the Office of Family Engagement. For those of you who are new to this webinar series is intended to help you as Terp family members and supporters become informed consultants on campus resources so that you can better support your Terps. And for this special series, Maryland Living 101, I'm happy and excited to welcome our students as well, so that they can have a successful move-in experience. Today, we're joined by the rockstar team of Department of Resident Life. They're going to be discussing everything you need to know about the move-in process, mastering move-in day, and how you can make that a successful move-in experience. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please utilize the Q&A feature. Along the toolbar of your Zoom, you should see a box with a question mark or the Q&A letters. Please use that to ask any questions you have. We have a team behind the scenes who are helping answer all of those questions, or at least as many as we can get to. We had over 2,000 people register for this webinar, so if for some reason we're not able to answer all of the questions up at the top, we will, or throughout the presentation, we will have time at the end to answer some questions, as well as the Department of Resident Life will share their contact information so that you can contact them as well. As you're looking through the questions, if you see something that you also would like the answer to, instead of retyping that same question, just use the thumbs up icon. That's an upvote. And so that will let us know that a lot of people would like the answer to that question. Lastly, I want to remind you all that this webinar is being recorded. And for those of you who are in the Zoom space, we will also be getting questions from you all there, or from the YouTube space. We will also be getting questions from there. So I didn't want to leave you all out if you are watching via the live stream. But it is being recorded, and I will upload the clean video of this after the webinar so that you can review all of the information if you would like. So with that, I will hand off the presentation. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Danny. And thank you to the more than 2,000 folks, I suspect across the world, who are joining us today for our final Maryland Living 101 webinar. We are incredibly excited to get this time to engage with you all and to get you prepared for one of my absolute favorite times of year, which is fall move-in, when all of our students come on campus, many for the first time. So today I'm going to talk you through a ton of information from a cohort of absolute experts in resident life to really talk you through this transition and to hopefully make you feel a little bit more prepared going into move-in day. My name is Jasmine Pelez, and I am the Communications and Outreach Manager for the Department of Resident Life. I am a proud alumna of the university. I was a CA during my time here and an RA in Denton Hall. So special shout out to anyone who is assigned to Denton. And I loved it so much that I decided to come back. And here I am working for the Department of Resident Life. And we have a ton of other folks who have been here for many years and are absolute experts, as I mentioned, that are really going to help guide you through here today. So we'll start with our introductions of these absolute all-stars. I'll start with Kia. Can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jasmine. Welcome, everyone. My name is Kia Whedon. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the assistant to the director with the Department of Resident Life. And to Jasmine's point, absolutely love the college life. Excited to talk with you all. And I have been here for 15 years. I'm gonna ask Erin to now introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erin Schlegel, she, her pronouns, and I am one of the assistant directors within the community staff team. Thrilled that you're with us this morning, and I've been with Maryland for about 20 years. Great to be with you. And Dan.
Thank you, Erin. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan Harefield, he, him pronouns, program manager for residential and community engagement with Resident Life here. Also a Terp alum, graduated in 2005, came back in 2011, been here ever since. I was a College Park scholar for any of our living learning program students out there, and a resident assistant in the Cambridge community for 3 years. So from one Terp alum to another, Jasmine, back to you for what we're doing this evening.
Thank you so much, Dan. Awesome. So now you've met who who's going to be sharing information with you. Let's dive into what exactly it is that we're going to be talking about over the next hour. So here's our agenda. And like I said, we're really going to do a deep dive into move-in day. We're going to share what you can expect in your room and within the residence halls when you arrive on campus. We'll also talk about tips for how to make the space your own, right? Your home away from home. And so we'll give you some guidelines on how to decorate and things to do and things not to do along the way. And then we'll also share some really exciting fall welcome events that'll really get you prepped and ready to meet other new Terps and hopefully forge some connections there and really bring you into our community. And we're incredibly excited to welcome more than 6,000 new Terps to our campus, to our residence halls. And we have such a lineup of events to get you engaged and really have you feeling like Maryland is going to be your home away from home. And then at the end, like I mentioned, we'll also take some time for questions. So if there's something that over the next hour we don't cover, we're going to take some time at the very end to highlight some frequently asked questions or some questions that just didn't get answered yet. So I really encourage you to maybe have a notebook ready, have your questions ready, be submitting them in the chat, and then hopefully we'll help ease the transition to the University of Maryland and into our residence halls. And I'm really excited to introduce you to our Director of Resident Life, Dennis Passarella George, and he's going to provide a further introduction to you all. Dennis.
Jasmine, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Passarella George. So you might have noticed a theme here. In addition to serving as the director in the Department of Resident Life, I'm also a Terp alum, and there are so many of us who are proud of the Maryland experience. So I want to thank you for being here tonight, for giving your time, helping us to make sure you all are prepared for move-in day and beyond. I know that it's a commitment of your time and energy to be here tonight and start to be prepared. And so thank you for joining us. I also want to give a shout out to the Res Life team for being here this evening. You're going to learn a lot in the next 45 minutes or so. I also want you to know our teams across the Division of Student Affairs have been busy all summer long getting ready for you, getting ready to welcome you, our new Terps and families for move-in and fall welcome. And so we hope you're as excited as we are as we get ready for the start of a new year. So for tonight's session, you're going to see content and hear information about room assignments details, roommates, safety in the residence halls, programs, activities, and maybe in the short term, most importantly, how you can prepare for move-in day. I know you've got lots of questions in the chat, and we're going to do the best we can to answer questions live as we go through this evening. Many of the questions you're putting in the chat, we've got it ready for you during the content for tonight, so know that we've anticipated many of your questions, and you'll hear that from our team this evening. Before we get started with the content, I want to also just share a little bit about what the Maryland residential experience means. So for new Terps that are here with us, know that this is going to be a great next adventure, and we are thrilled for you to join us at the University of Maryland College Park. I also know that the transition from home to college is a big one, and so I want to give you a bit of advice. The first piece is I want you to enjoy every single moment, soak in as much as you can, and really dig into living on campus. Because choosing to live in the residence halls is really not about the room you're assigned to or the building you're assigned to. What it's all about is really community and connections and engagement, and that's what our team is focused on. Know that we will have people available 24/7 to help you along the way from the day you get here till the day you graduate. And also know, so a little tip for parents and families here in the virtual room with us tonight. The magic transition from high school to college this summer means a lot of big things. And my advice to you will be celebrate every single moment and be prepared that we want our new Terps to lead the way. And that'll be really different than in high school, right? So we want to prepare our students to advocate for themselves, to get what they need, to look out for help, to solve problems, and know that conflict and transition is a huge part of what it means to start the fall semester. And like I said, we're going to be here 24/7 along the way to help and support. And later you'll hear about lots of the events and activities we've got planned also to make sure that we're helping every new Terp get connected, meet other people, and be ready for that first day of class. Thank you again for being here. Enjoy tonight's session. We'll see you in just about 20 days for move-in, and go Terps.
Thank you so much, Dennis. So as you prepare for moving, it's important to know where you're actually moving into. Last month, in July, room assignments information was released. And as a reminder, it included your students' housing details that identified the hall, the room, and the room type for their assignment. Your room assignment information also included roommate information and how to contact them, and it provided your move-in arrival window and arrival instructions. So as a reminder, students can view all of this information by going to their housing portal. You'll see here on the slide both how and where to log in to get to that information. Additionally, if a student has been approved for an early arrival before our first day of move-in on August 27th, that updated information will also be found in their housing portal. We also just want to take a moment to share a refresher of the fact that our staff look at a variety of factors when it comes to room placement and roommate matching. This includes medical housing accommodations, living and learning participation, verified roommate requests, and living style preferences. And our amazing assignments team assigned more than 6,000 new Terps after receiving a tremendous amount of on-campus interest from the incoming class. So they did that, the variety of factors for 6,000 people. And to accommodate all first year and transfer students with first year standing, we have placed many of our new Terps in all of the communities, halls, and housing options that we offer. And this is not uncommon. It's happened in previous years. However, for this year, the sheer number has increased, which also means then there's most first years in lots of our communities and even more opportunities to connect with fellow new Terps all across our halls and our housing options. So if your student needs help and they want to reach out for any questions, they are welcome to reach out to our assignments office because they are always here to help. So next, let's talk a little bit about what you'll actually find in your room. Each room has a standard furniture package for each student. And that standard furniture package is a desk, a dresser, a bed, a mattress, and closet space. For specifications regarding room furniture, we encourage you to check out our Before Move-In webpage. And that link will be shared momentarily in our chat so that you can check out those specifications. Another thing to note about what will be in your room is that all resident hall students have wired and wireless internet capabilities, and they have free access to Xfinity Stream. We also have lots of examples of various room types on our website, and it includes several resources to get a sense of the different styles of rooms and amenities in all of our buildings and our communities. We have virtual layouts and 360 tours that give you a visual look of all types of rooms in our inventory. And we also have some new additions, our houses on Fraternity Row, that have been recently added to our lineup. And while we don't currently have virtual tours available, we are working to get those situated, and we'll share those photos very soon on our website. In the meantime, you are welcome to check out their floor plans on our houses webpage. And again, a link to that will be shared in the chat momentarily. We like to remind folks that if there's no 360 tour for your specific building, there's often a comparable one within that community. And then we also like to note that we don't provide specific dimensions for any of our rooms. And our 360 tours are a good tool to help you plan, but we also encourage you to come during move-in and be flexible so that once you arrive, you can get a real-time feel for how you want to set up the shared space. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about what all you can find in the residence hall, some of our amenities. So students have access to laundry facilities that vary by location depending on the residence hall. Some laundry facilities are located directly on the floors, some are in basements, and others might be in a nearby residence hall. But access to washers and dryers are included in our student housing fees, so all students have access to those facilities. We also have lounges and study spaces, which are great places for students to connect, meet each other, and study and stay on top of their academics. A majority of our traditional halls offer these spaces, and that also includes our new houses on Fraternity Row. Our service desks are available 24/7, and they help in a variety of ways for our residents, including picking up mail, picking up their packages, getting a spare key if they need, a swipe card if needed as well, if you need a temporary one. And our community assistants who work at the desk are very, very helpful students. They can help our new Terps get connected to campus resources, as well as to our on-call staff who are available every night and throughout the weekends. We also have water fill stations in our residence halls. It's important to keep hydrated for sure during move-in day, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in our slide deck, but we want to make sure that you know those are available. Next, let's talk a little bit about personalizing the space. We've talked about the room assignment. We've talked a bit about the sense of the layout in the halls. The natural next step is to think about how you might make it feel like your space. We definitely encourage personalizing your space. But we also want to remind you of a few things to keep in mind when moving into our residence hall as you're creating a home away from home. Since the room is a shared space, it'll be important to not only think about what it means to share a space with another person, but also we encourage some discussion with roommates about what each person plans to bring and what you will coordinate and collaborate on. This includes thinking about what you actually need to bring right now versus maybe some things that could stay home for right now, because you don't need to bring everything you own. A great example is thinking about the weather. Perhaps leaving some of those warmer clothes at home right now would be good, and consider bringing them either during family weekend later in the fall or, depending on your temperature needs, even after Thanksgiving. So as you settle in, the room will initially have a standard layout, and furniture can be rearranged. They just cannot be removed. So as you think about wanting to move the furniture around as needed, we just ask for you to please make sure to avoid blocking the air control systems like heat, air conditioning, and dehumidification. Some other pro tips for personalization is bringing blue painter's tape or poster putty to hang posters and pictures. We also strongly recommend that blue painter's tape is used when affixing LED lights to help minimize wall damage. Speaking of, we suggest avoiding decorative vinyl decals. While promoted as easy to remove, they have caused some significant damage to walls, floors, and furniture, which have also resulted in some significant room damage charges. For more pro tips, check out the email that was sent earlier this week, which outlines things to keep in mind while organizing furniture in your room. Some other tips that we want to share is to please not ship any items before your student has moved in. Please plan to send any packages or other deliveries after you have arrived and checked into the residence hall. Shipping items early could delay their ability to get sorted and be available once you arrive. The website you see highlighted on this slide has a helpful list of items to bring, including items related to fire and electrical safety, like e-scooters. You can also find these helpful tips in our printed Maryland Living One-on-One guide shared with you during orientation. And if you don't have it on hand, don't worry. A digital copy of the guide is available at the link on our Res Life home page. So now that we've talked a little bit about the actual room, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Erin, who's going to talk about building connections, safety, and beyond. Erin.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kia. All right, so let's talk about building connections. So for most of our students living in the residence halls, having a roommate is a new experience. And so we highly recommend that your student reaches out to their roommate to have a conversation with them and start to get to know them before move-in day. Even when students know each other from high school or from childhood, they likely have never lived with that other person. And so there can also be an adjustment there as well that they might need to work through. The very best piece of advice that we can share with you is that to have a good roommate is to be a good roommate. So we're looking for reciprocal relationships in sharing the bedroom space. And the importance of communication is huge, and not just bottling up frustrations until things get out of hand. So regular communication is really important. And both students or multiple students in the space really need to invest in that roommate relationship in order to make it work. We really encourage our students to be open-minded, be willing to compromise, and talk through any issues or concerns or problems that might come up in the roommate relationship or within the living situation. We have lots and lots of stories of wonderful roommates who did not know each other before coming to campus, but have become best friends, really lifelong friends, because they took the time to care for their roommate, connect with them, and communicate with them as issues came about. And we provide a plethora of opportunities to build relationships with students across all of our residence halls. Examples will include our meet and greets that will start the first day your student arrives on campus that evening. There will be a huge fall welcome program with a ton of activities that our RAs will be escorting residents to that you can go to on your own to get connected and start making friends. And then beyond Fall Welcome, we have a wonderful program called Find Your Squad, which is intentionally designed to help students connect with one another and form friendships. Our RAs will also be working with residents to complete their community living agreements, which is essentially a roommate agreement that prompts students to talk through typical points that can be a pinch point for roommate relationships. So what does cleanliness look like? What does visitation look like in our space? Do we want to study in our space, or do we want to study elsewhere in our space? So it helps roommates anticipate and plan through some of those details. And our RAs are here to help our students complete those agreements. And our staff are always here to help. So if at any point a problem should arise for your student, the resident assistants are a great place to start. And certainly our 24/7 service desks, our CAs who work there are also available to help. All right, moving on. All right, so let's talk about safety in the residence halls. So there are quite a few things that we provide for our students to provide a secure space. Our entrances are locked 24/7. We have our 24/7 service desks that are staffed, and we also have our on-call staff, multiple levels of on-call staff that are available anytime our residence hall offices are closed. And our 24/7 service desks are located inside your building, typically in the lobby area or in a building adjacent or within close proximity to your residence hall. So every student has an assigned service desk. And for our students who are housed on the row, their 24/7 service desk will be located in the Leonardtown Community Center. So at any point in time, our students can come to the service desk if they have a concern or if they don't know where to go for a class or a meeting. We are here to help. All right. And we also expect that our students are committed to their own safety and that they're being proactive by doing a few key things. First and foremost, it's important that they lock their door and that students keep their keys and their swipes with them to maintain the security of their residence hall space. It's also important that our students are mindful of how their actions can both contribute to a respectful community or not contribute to a respectful community. So that's in their interactions with others within the community and in how our residents treat the facilities where they live. Our residents are also responsible for the whereabouts and the actions of their guests and visitors. Our rules and community expectations apply to all who enter our residence halls. And we expect that if students see something out of the norm or they have a concern, they should tell someone. So like I mentioned before, they can always come to our community assistants who work at our 24/7 service desks or to an RA, and they are trained and ready to provide support. So there is always someone on the ready to help. All right, so we've got a video which was shared with all of our students on our move-in day process. We'd like to share that with you now.
August is just around the corner, and we're sure you're getting excited to move into your on-campus home here at the University of Maryland. To help prepare you for your move-in process, we will outline the steps to move in. If possible, it's best to have at least 3 people to help with the move-in process: a driver, someone to watch belongings at curbside, and of course, the student who will check in and retrieve the room keys. Step 1. Follow directions to your hall. Enter campus and follow directional signs and instructions given by the university police and parking attendant to drive to your residence hall. The routes are designated to reduce traffic bottlenecks and speed up your move-in day process. Please note, some of the streets become one-way during move-in. It'll be a busy time and there are limited unloading areas, so we ask for your patience. Once a spot becomes available in the unloading zone closest to your residence hall, temporarily park to begin unloading belongings curbside. The driver can move your vehicle out of the unloading zone within 15 minutes while the remaining passengers stay with the belongings that have been unloaded onto the curb. Step 2. Students should head directly to the check-in desk location to receive their room keys and other check-in materials from the service desk staff. After checking in at your service desk and receiving your keys, you should be able to gain access to your residence hall by using your university identification card. If you have trouble accessing the building, please call your service desk to gain entrance. Students should then return to the curb and help move belongings into the room. Typically, there are RAs and residents to help you find your room. Be sure to introduce yourself to your RA and your new roommates. Step 3. Now the fun begins. Begin to unpack and find a place for all of your stuff. Don't forget to take your trash and recycling out to the marked bins when finished. For additional information, check out our website at www.reslife.umd.edu/move-in. We can't wait to see you in August, and welcome to your new home as a Terp.
All right, great. So now that you have a nice overview of what to expect from our video, I want to go into a little bit more detail. So the 2 main move-in days for our new students are Wednesday, August 27th and Thursday, August 28th. So when our students received their assignment and roommate information on July 17th, they also received their arrival passport. And that arrival passport is really important because it lists your specific move-in date and time. And we really want our students to follow that date and time as best as they're able. So if it says 11 a.m. on Thursday, please don't plan to come at 10 or at 1 o'clock. Our move-in process is coordinated to account for many different factors, including construction, traffic, and volume of students moving into each individual building. So we have more than 6,000 students who will move in during these 2 days. So we really appreciate it when our students and family members can follow those appointment times. However, we also realize that sometimes that's not possible. So if you need to move in before your designated arrival time, you can request an early arrival through your housing portal. If you need to arrive early as part of a university group or organization, such as the Mighty Sound of Maryland, Fresh Fest, Terp Welcome Crew, any of those groups, your group will help manage your early arrival. And so please note that your arrival passport will update and reflect an earlier arrival once that has been approved. And then the earliest arrival date in time is Sunday, August 24th at noon. And please note that all resident dining plans begin on Wednesday, August 27th. So therefore, we encourage you to plan for your meals if you plan or if you receive approval for an early arrival before Wednesday, August 27th. We are conveniently located along Baltimore Avenue, and there's multiple restaurants and multiple grocery stores, including Lidl, Shoppers, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods. If you plan to arrive after your designated arrival time, no worries. You can arrive on Sunday, August 31st or Monday, September 1st, if those days work better for you. We do not encourage you to move on Saturday, August 30th. While these days are because of the home football game on the 30th. So please avoid that. So while these days are not designated as scheduled move-in days, Sunday or Monday, our residence hall desks will be open 24 hours and staff will be there to assist you when you arrive and check in. And it's also important to note, if you arrive later that weekend, you may miss out on some fall welcome events. And we want all of our students to enjoy the fun of fall welcome. So that's important to note. All right, so let's talk about what happens when you arrive on campus. So it's important on developing your move-in dream team, and that dream team includes a driver, a helper, and a student. And we also know that sometimes you might not have 3 people. It might just be the student, it might just be the student and one other person, and that's okay. The arrival passport includes information for which entrance to campus is optimal for your particular residence hall and how to navigate to your unloading zone. It's very important that you follow those entry points because that will get you to your residence hall on the fastest route. And then there will be lots of signs and volunteers and police support to help direct you upon arrival and help direct you to your residence hall. And once you arrive to your unloading zone area, we want the student to immediately get out of the vehicle and go inside the residence hall to check in. And then the helper and the driver will work to unload the entire vehicle curbside. We are looking for cars to only remain in the unloading zones for up to 10 minutes or less. And that's really important because we want to get everyone as close to their building as possible. And so if you can do that within 10 minutes or less, that helps the entire operation and helps your fellow Terps. It's truly meant to manage the flow of traffic and to keep things moving. And then once the vehicle is fully unloaded, the helper will remain with those items and the driver will then move the car to your long-term parking location and then meet up with your student and helper to move the belongings from the curbside up to your room. And then you can take your time getting settled for the rest of the time. So please remember that we're working with a large influx of traffic and people coming to campus over these 2 days. And so please plan accordingly, and we really appreciate your flexibility and patience in advance. Great. So now I'm going to kick things over to Dan to talk about some more move-in tips. Dan.
Thank you, Erin. So let's talk about some additional reminders and tips and things to consider to make the move-in experience a little easier. Remember that this is the start of your college journey. You do not need to pack everything you own and bring that with you to campus. I like to say, if you bring a U-Haul to campus, you're doing move-in wrong. Make it a little easier on yourself, pack a little lighter. If you happen to be local, after moving in, you can always go back and forth from home to bring additional items. Parents and families can bring items to you here in the residence halls throughout the semester. That is totally fine. And then if you aren't local to the College Park area and are coming from a distance, after you've checked in, students can receive any items that they need to through our service desks. You can have items shipped to you to receive right here on campus. So you have a lot of options there for kind of packing light initially and then pulling in more items as you go throughout the year. Don't forget to check the list of approved versus not approved items on our website. We've got a specific page that highlights that information. It's in our digital brochure that's on the site. So if you want to print that page out of the digital brochure, you can take that with you when you go shopping, whereas you go around the house to gather your items together. It's actually broken down into 3 different blocks of information. So one is, here are the items that you as a student should bring with you to get started. The second group are the items that students should talk about with their roommates and plan together. You know, you don't necessarily need 2 TVs, 2 carpets, 2 refrigerators, and so on. And then the third are the items to leave at home. These are mostly related to fire and electrical safety, but just make sure you take note of the items on that list and don't bring them with you to campus. Now, let's be honest, move-in can be a lot. The combination of the process of moving and starting a new experience is overwhelming. And for families, leaving your child or loved one to live on their own can be emotional. First of all, never forget that we have an incredible team of dedicated resident life staff here to support your student from move-in to the start of the year and beyond. Really, honestly, in addition to our staff, we have our Terp Welcome Crew volunteers and faculty and staff that volunteer during the move-in process to make this as smooth as possible and help guide you along the way. We will have the yellow and gray moving cards. You may see some images on our website. These will be available around our communities to check out, but certainly we have a limited number, and we recommend that if you do have your own hand truck or dolly, you bring that with you just to expedite the move-in process a little bit easier. Also remember that move-in is taking place at the end of August. We're here in the Mid-Atlantic. Maryland is a state that it gets a little hot and humid still in the summer, particularly around this time of year. It can definitely be that way. So please stay hydrated and make sure that you're taking care of yourself throughout the moving process. We have water fill stations in our buildings. We have lounges that you can take a moment to catch your breath. Please make sure you take care of yourself and plan for the weather appropriately. Now let's talk about rentals. Certainly, I see some questions in the chat as we're going, interested in the different rental options that can help both make move-in packing a little bit lighter and the customization of how you want to arrange your room a little bit more open. So the first one is Breeze. This is a company previously called My Fridge Rental. They offer rental of micro fridges, which are not mini fridges. They happen to be combo units of a microwave with a refrigerator and a freezer all together in one unit. These are available for rent, and if you order them within the next week or so, if you've already done it, great. You have several days still to make sure if you get that order in, it'll be delivered prior to your arrival on campus so that it is in the room as you are getting checked in and settled into your new space. There is a limit of 1 unit per room, but if one student rents the micro fridge, the other student is allowed to bring their own mini fridge if you feel like you need 2 fridges in the room. Just the microwave is the microwave element is the only way you can have a microwave directly in your residence hall bedroom. There are community spaces throughout our buildings, lounges and kitchens where communal microwaves are available. But again, this micro fridge option is the one way to guarantee it directly in your bedroom. I will mention that students assigned to the houses on the row are allowed to rent the micro fridges as well. So just want to make sure that you have that information to work with as you plan. Now, BedLoft is our other rental program that we have. BedLoft provides lofting kits that help to raise the bed to bunk bed level height, essentially about 5 feet of clearance underneath the bed. This allows for a lot of extra under the bed storage or rearrangement of furniture, just to provide a lot more flexibility to customize the space in your room. These also can be installed ahead of time if you get your order in by August 10th. We are currently working with the bed loft company to see if their service will be available for the houses on the row. Once we have that information, we will update our website with those details. Both Breeze and Bedloft are going to be on campus during the main move-in days. Breeze with a mobile unit able to come out and provide customer service as needed, and Bedloft around campus being able to help you if you stop by their tent locations on either side, the north or south sides of campus. The last thing I want to highlight here is we have an incredible partnership with IKEA College Park. We have our own IKEA store right here locally in the city, and they're going to offer a couple different elements to help with helping students settle in for the start of the year. The first is we have a special online order process that will be available between Monday, August 25th and Sunday, August 31st, where if a UMD student places an order through the website, we'll have a special link that we're going to promote out afterwards. You will be able to have that order brought to campus for pickup on Monday, September 1st. We're going to have a block of time in the afternoon that day to stop by our Cambridge Community Center to pick up your order. So that's one great way to also think about packing a little lighter and getting some additional items that you think you'll need down the line, but you don't have to have them with you when you first arrive on campus. They are going to be available at some of our fall welcome events as well, helping students with the ordering process and potentially having a few fun giveaways to pass out at each one of these opportunities. IKEA is also going to be working with us for a special back to school night at their store. So on Thursday, September 4th from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., students can catch a shuttle from our Stamp Student Union straight out to IKEA College Park. If you had placed online orders that you didn't pick up for Monday, September 1st, or you place additional orders after that point, if you want to go shopping, or if you just want to go to the store and see the fun activities that they have going on, figure out how to build some IKEA furniture. They have some staff on hand for activities related to that. You can go out, check it out, enjoy the experience, and bring any purchases or orders back with you on the shuttles back to campus. So we've got those great partnerships, great ways to think about maybe negotiating what you need to pack prior to coming to campus and what items you can get after you are already here and settled in. All right, so let's now move into what happens after you get settled. So for parents and families, I wanted to say, at some point of this experience, you're going to help your Terp settle in. You're going to have that moment where you share how absolutely proud of them you are, how excited you are for them to start this journey at the university, and then you're going to let them spread their turtle wings and fly. We promise we've got them. Our Fall Welcome program serves as that starting point to help students connect with each other, explore the campus and the surrounding community, learn about Maryland traditions, and get excited for the start of the year. Fall Welcome will begin in the evenings on both Wednesday and Thursday of the move-in experience, and then will be pretty much all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So let me share some of the exciting marquee experiences that we have throughout the week. Wednesday evening, matching up with a lot of our living learning programs moving in throughout the day, there will be some living learning program specific welcomes taking place to gather students together and help you start to build some community. There will be additional resident life events happening more generally for all students who are on campus for the rest of that evening. On Thursday is when our schedule really does shift into high gear, and we have our Welcome to the Big Show event. This is where students will meet our campus leadership. They'll learn about Maryland traditions. You'll learn about the songs, the dances, the cheers, and you'll be able to take the iconic class photo on the field at CQ Stadium. Friday is where we are going to bring you a festival of free stuff, literally called Free Fest. There is going to be music, tons of giveaways from both on and off campus partners and community members. It's going to be an incredible vibe. And then beyond that, we have Late Night Terp Thing. This is where we'll have a number of different activities in the Stamp Student Union, arts and crafts and trivia and games. And there will be a concert hosted by Student Entertainment Events called Moonlit Music. On Saturday, we encourage students to attend their first home football game and then come to the Stamp Student Union in the evening for a few additional activities like crafting, a movie at our Hawk Theater, and a photo scavenger hunt aimed at exploring the campus community. And then it continues on Sunday and Monday, where there are recreational resources around campus, like our outdoor pool, our climbing wall will be open. We're going to have a special showing of the new How to Train Your Dragon movie at our theater on campus. So there's going to be tons of activities for you to enjoy and help you get excited for the start of the year. We're hosting over 40 events, of which you can see on our website if you go to reslife.umd.edu/fall welcome. So now what's next? We get through fall welcome, we get to the first day of classes. We've made a number of references here that we want to emphasize this intentionality that our team has in resident life to help students connect and find community. It's not always easy to break out of one shell, but our resident assistants and community assistants and professional staff are here 24/7 to provide resources for ways to get involved within and beyond the residence halls. And we create events and gatherings focused on providing a multitude of environments to, as we like to say, find your squad. Through our student experience surveys, we've identified that the vast majority of our resident students have felt supported by their RAs to feel a sense of belonging in the residence halls. While some students may have that confidence to seek new connections, it is clear that our RAs have an incredible impact on helping students find new friendships. Our teams in the residential communities, along with some of our campus partners, have developed a series of events labeled Find Your Squad. You can see the logo on the screen right now, and these are intentional experiences that provide space for interpersonal connections, starting with community block parties after the start of classes, and continuing with experiences like karaoke in the dining halls, community bowling nights at Terp Zone, special pool parties at the Outdoor Aquatic Center, and more. So whether a student attends a craft night hosted by their RA or a bingo event with hundreds of other Terps, they will have a variety of different ways to find community and the friends that will support an incredible experience here at the University of Maryland. So staying within the residence halls, our Residence Hall Association is the perfect way for students to get involved right at the start of the year. The hall and area councils provide community building opportunities and serve as leadership development, especially if you were highly involved in your high school experience. Oh, can I get the next slide, please? All right, so that is our RHA. Now, at the larger scale, I also want to mention that there are a ton of experiences to help with this transition process as well. The first Look Fair will be an opportunity to connect with our over 800 student organizations and campus departments and programs offering different ways to get involved. This event happens during the second week of class and covers McKeldin Mall throughout the day with areas of interest like sports and recreation, service, leadership development, campus employment, gaming, a cappella groups, and more. We'll be out there ourselves promoting the application process for the resident assistant position, just in case you're interested in applying with us. One of the groups that will be out there that I've mentioned earlier in this session is the Student Entertainment Events, which this is a student organization that works with our STAMP Student Union. They host concerts and movies and special lectures and incredible activities throughout the academic year. So it's a really an amazing way to get involved in the campus community, to get leadership experience, and get to help plan some of the events that bring students together. Terps After Dark is another community of effort that we have that provides events and experiences mainly on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights over the first 2 months of the semester as students are looking for additional fun activities to start their campus journey. And then for our families, I do want to mention that we encourage you to return to campus and explore this space for Family Weekend. That's going to take place during the first weekend of October, and Homecoming, which is a whole week of activities during the last week of October, including our Terp Carnival on Friday, and then the homecoming football game on that Saturday. It's overlapping with Halloween this year, so maybe a little spooky homecoming thing going on. It's going to be a great time. Students should never feel like there is nothing to do on campus, but can stay tuned in by exploring the Terp Link website for a calendar of events and details for all of the registered student organizations and how to get involved. And I think with that, I've covered a lot of transitional pieces here. I want to turn it back over to Jasmine to bring us to a close of our main presentation and into the Q&A.
Wow, if you can believe it, that was a whole hour of incredible information. Oh, I think I froze. Can everyone hear me? I hope you all can hear me now. Sorry, my computer froze there. I was just explaining that that was an incredible amount of information over the last 50, 60 minutes. So we really hope that we've been able to dispel some misinformation and to really reassure you of all of the opportunities that we have for our students, share that we are absolutely prepared and eager to welcome them on the day that they are meant to arrive and to be with us on campus. And we're really incredibly excited to bring our new Terps into the fold and welcome them to their experience here at the University of Maryland. I did want to point out just a couple of final reminders to kind of think about as you continue to plan for your move-in day. One of which is that we don't recommend moving in on Saturday, August 30th. As mentioned, there will be a home football game. You do not want to be in the middle of all of the crazy traffic mess. Of course, we really encourage you to either stick with the date on your arrival passport or to just move in the following day on that Sunday. We promise it'll be a little bit easier on you and hopefully on your nerves to not have to move in that day. And then we also really encourage all of our folks to practice patience. Moving in general is just such a hassle. And so I can only imagine that for our families, for our students, it's also incredibly exciting, but anxiety inducing, and you have traffic going on. We just really encourage you to practice patience and just be assured that by the end of the day, you will be moved in, you'll be in your new space and ready to unpack and really enjoy the journey of the college experience. So I really appreciate your patience and your understanding when things get a little challenging on move-in day. And then we also want to remind you to just let your students' Terp wings soar, as Dan mentioned. Our Resident Life Here team is really here to support them 24/7 when they need it, and to really encourage them to come into their own and experience this on their own 2 feet and to really take advantage of all the opportunities that they have as Terps living in the residence halls. So those were just a couple of reminders, but I'll hand it over to Danny so that we can go through some of the frequently asked questions, some of the questions that we wanted to answer live instead of through the chat, because we might have gotten a couple of similar questions there, and then we'll wrap up at the end. But I'll hand it over to Danny to go through that.
Thank you all so much. You all did amazing. We flew through that. So much information, but it's wild that it took an hour. Hopefully you all have found that super helpful. So I was pulling out some questions. The team on the back end answering, they were on it. So if I did miss anything, please, those of you feel free to unmute and you can address those. The first question, where will families park after leaving the unloading zones, and where can they access permits?
I'll go ahead and answer that question. During move-in, your arrival passport has map links on it that share the unloading zone as well as the long-term parking that's associated with you or your students' hall, as well as then how to get back to the residence hall to continue with setting up the room. As far as parking permits are concerned during move-in, parking is pretty lenient during move-in because of all the activity that is happening, so you don't necessarily need a permit. However, what is helpful is on the arrival passport, there is a parking placard that has a kind of a code on it that helps with traffic management for UMPD, which is our police department and police officers, to help them guide you successfully toward the unloading zone. So again, there are links in the arrival passport for that placard, as well as long-term parking maps for the long-term parking associated with the hall that your student is moving into.
Thank you. What is the cost to do laundry for residents?
I'm happy to take that one. It's free. How about that? Laundry is actually included in the housing fees, so there's no need to pay for wash or dry. You just have to bring your own detergent. I know I've seen those questions flying about what style of detergent. You can really technically use any style. Pods are fine, liquid is fine. You can pick whatever is your personal preference.
Thank you. When do families typically leave following move-in?
I can take this one. I think most families leave once their student is settled in their room and before the fall welcome events begin. So on most days, that means about 4 o'clock. About 4 o'clock is when your student can expect to have a meet and greet with their RA, and the RAs will be escorting folks to dinner before the fall welcome activities that evening. So by and large, we want our students settled by about that time so that they don't miss out on any of those initial connections and engagement activities.
Thank you. And I do want to make a plug. Dan mentioned this, but we do encourage you to come back for Family Weekend. My team, we put that on. It'll be October 3rd through the 5th. The website is live now, so you can view the schedule of events, and registration opens next week on Wednesday. So if you are not local and you do have to travel back home after move-in, I do hope you will come back again in October. Move-in times, how are those assigned? And if a student needs to move in early or isn't able to make their time, how do they go about notifying Resident Life about that?
Yeah, I can answer that one. Move-in times are kind of a negotiation of how many students and the kind of flow of traffic that we are looking to manage for each building and the kind of traffic pattern to get up to the building and up the elevators. So we try to kind of make sure that we are not overloading any one building with either vehicle traffic or person traffic at any given time. So that's just kind of how we break it down into smaller groups for each hour of the move-in period. As far as early and late arrival, if you are looking to arrive later than your assigned time, after 4 p.m., after your assigned appointment. That'll allow the move-in to take place outside of previously assigned move-in blocks, and that way you're not running into the already planned traffic that is existing in the community areas. You do not have to notify us if you're moving in later than your assigned time, but if you are moving in earlier, there are kind of two different options there. If you're part of one of those special groups that is approved to move in early because of activities like the marching band in preparation for the first home football game, or Fresh Fest with Hillel, the kind of welcome program for our Jewish students, those experiences are already being managed with rosters getting processed with our assignments team to do batch approvals. Your arrival date and time will be updated on your passport once those details have been fully approved. If you are individually applying for an early arrival, you go to the Star Res Housing portal, and under the housing form section, there is a link to be able to make a request for an early arrival. The earliest possible time would be Sunday, the 24th at 12 p.m. And then basically it's between that date and Tuesday, the 26th, as far as the early arrival block of time. So you can put in that request through the housing forms, and then our team will be approving those on a rolling basis.
Thank you. And I want to give an opportunity for those who have been answering questions on the back end, or for presenters who want to elaborate on anything. I know we're coming up on an hour now, so I want to give folks time to answer or raise any questions or share additional context if you need to before we close out. Oh, I do remember in previous years there have been a lot of questions about uh, water fountains or water bottle filling stations. Can someone speak about those and what is available for students?
Sure. Most of our buildings have water refill stations and water fountains within close proximity of their space. So they can certainly use those. You don't have to rely on bringing bottled water to the residence halls. So yeah, that is certainly available. We also have refill stations in all of our dining halls if you need to refill your water bottle at a dining hall. So water is available.
Thank
Yes,
you,
there
Erin.
are refill stations all over campus, academic buildings, residence halls. So students should always be within close proximity to a refill station.
Danny, I wanted to address. Oh, can you hear me? I feel like my
Yes.
audio has not been working. I wanted to address one question that I saw a couple times come up about our housekeeping staff and how frequently bathrooms are cleaned. Our housekeeping staff does a fabulous job, especially maintaining public spaces such as the residence hall lobby area, lounges, and also bathrooms for those specifically in our traditional halls. But I will note that for students who are living in apartments or in suites that have shared bathrooms, the housekeeping staff will unfortunately not clean those spaces. So it's really incumbent upon you and your roommates to bring cleaning supplies, to talk about a cleaning schedule, and really make sure it's really everyone's shared responsibility to keep the bathrooms, like I said, in your apartment or your suite clean and your semi-suites clean. So we also shared an email out to our first year students specifically who are living in apartments and suites and semi-suites and for whom possibly they've never had this responsibility before. So we just shared some information about, being sure to bring with you some cleaning supplies and having conversations about your roommates about those shared spaces.
Thank you. And lastly, just want to confirm bed or sheet sizes for the beds. Is there a consistent size that students should plan to bring, or does it vary by residence hall?
I can jump in on that one. So the majority of our beds, with the exception of the units in the heritage community, are standard twin beds. So you can get twin sheets, but if you do want to have some sort of mattress topper or any sort of additional cushioning on top of the mattress, I actually would recommend getting XL sheets, twin XLs, just to be able to make sure that the corners don't pop at night when you're sleeping in the bed. For the heritage community, those do tend to be extra longs, so you can get extra long sheets as a standard.
Dan, I'll just tack on to that, that if you are a student in a flex double room in the heritage community, meaning Peon Chen and Johnson Whittle halls, I do want to note, and we sent out an email to these students specifically, that those beds are standard twin size beds and not the extra large beds. Additionally, also students in House 9, students who are placed in the houses on the fraternity row, those students also received an email from us today noting that your bed sizes are actually extra large. Again, with the caveat that if you are in a flex double space in House 9, you will have standard bed sizes. So I would encourage your Terp or you to check out your inbox for that specified information. But as Dan mentioned, in general, most of our beds are standard twin size.
Thank you. So I want to wrap us up here. I'm going to put in the chat for everyone a link to the Terp family YouTube page. This is where you will be able to find a recording of this session, and it will also be available in the Terp Family eConnection portal and on the Resident Life website. So I want to take the time to thank you all for joining us this evening. I know it was a lot of information, so I hope before your move-in time you will review this again with your student or with your family members or whoever it is that is going to be helping you with your move-in experience. If you do have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Department of Resident Life. Their contact information is here on the slide. And you will also receive an email from me tomorrow with a survey just letting you provide us feedback, suggestions for future webinars, and ways that we can improve the series for you. So please feel free to share your feedback. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Department of Resident Life. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and I wish you all a successful move-in. Go Terps!